You have to July 31st to send me a rough assignment. Now, you could send me the whole summer assignment, or you could send me like the first chapter because you just want to get a feel. But this is how it happens. If you send me the whole summer assignment and I read it, and I might tell you to do one or two things, you have that till the assignment is due, that time to fix the one or two things, and therefore get 100%. My idea of the summer assignment is that everyone should get 100% on it, and it starts you obviously even before the year starts. It starts you with like a cushion of 30 out of 30. It's worth 30 points, and it gets you an easy 30 out of 30. So I think the summer assignment is the easiest assignment that you'll have all year as far as a grade, and can give you a cushion in that respect. All right. Does anyone, I opened up the chat box. Does anyone have any questions about the summer assignment? Or you could turn on your mic, or you could type it into the chat. Okay. All right. We ended the last class, and I don't know about you guys, but I lost power. I didn't have power till Friday last week. But the class before that, we ended with the shifters of the demand curve, and I call a timer. T for taste and preference, meaning like things that might be popular now or things that are unpopular, the demand is going to be lower. Income, meaning are people making more or less money in the United States. Market size, meaning like, I think I used like a company who might open up in Baltimore, and that could be like they're a local company. Then they move to the, they market the state of Maryland, so they're market sizing, and then they go to the United States, and then market size, so the demand for that product increases. Expectations. If the expectations of prices going up next month, the demand for that product will increase now because people rather buy it at lower prices now. Now, obviously, the opposite would also happen. And if the expectations are for prices to go lower, then the demand for the product will be less today. And the last thing is related goods, which is goods and substitutes. All right, time or taste, income, market size, those are the only things that could shift the demand curve. Nothing else shifts the demand curve. Price does not shift the demand curve. And in a slide or two, I'll show you the impact of price on quantity demanded. All right, so those are the 5 shifters. I want to just clear up a little about what related goods are. We might have done that the last class, but just as a reminder. Okay. All right, so here, substitutes are goods used in place of one another. I think Coke and Pepsi, all right? So what happens? If the price of one increases, so if the price of Coke increases, people are going to buy less Coke and they're going to demand Pepsi at a lower price. That is a substitute, all right? Or goods used in place of one another. Think Coke and Pepsi, all right? Now here, if the price of Pepsi falls, people are going to buy more Pepsi, therefore demand less Coke. Complements are 2 goods that are brought and used together. So think hot dogs and hot dog buns. If the price of hot dogs go up, people are buying less hot dogs, therefore they need less hot dog buns. So the demand for hot dog buns goes down. Now notice, it's not the price. So it's the price of Pepsi impacts the demand for Coke, okay? So I say price doesn't shift the curve because we're not talking about the price of Coke. We're talking about the price of Pepsi and its impact on the demand for Coke, okay? So complements, if the price of one increases, the demand for the other will fall. And I said, like, if the price of hot dogs increases, the demand for hot dog buns decreases. And here I used, if the price of skis fall, so more people are buying skis, then the demand for ski boots will increase. And when we say the demand will increase, remember that is a shift in the curve. All right. So in timer, when we're talking about related goods, we are talking about substitutes and complements. All right. And they're used a lot, like substitutes and complements in economics. So it's an important concept to grasp. All right, now income. Timer also said income, right? Now, there's two types of goods. There's what we call a normal good, and that is as income increases, demand increases. All right. So if you think of like sweaters, as income increases, the demand for sweaters increases. Sweaters are a normal good. And of course, it's going to go the other way. As income falls, demand falls. Now, there's something called inferior goods. And an inferior good, even though most of the time the quality is a little less, we're not really talking about quality. What we're talking about, as income increases, demand falls. And as income falls, demand increases. Now, in 2008, the United States went into recession, and every stock on the Fortune 500, except one, went down. That one company was named McDonald's. All right, McDonald's is an inferior good. Why? As income falls, people stop eating out at maybe Outbacks or more expensive places, but they still want to eat out, so they go to McDonald's. So as income falls, the demand for McDonald's increases. As people are making more and more money, they don't need to go to McDonald's anymore. They can go to places like Outbacks. So as income increases, the demand for McDonald's falls. Now, are you going to have to know what goods are inferior, normal? No. They will say, like, these are all normal goods. And then you have to know in a normal good, income up, demand up. Or they'll say it's an inferior good, then you have to know income up, demand down. Okay? And I gave used cars, used clothes, and, you know, Mickey D's as an example. And there it is, Mickey D's. Fruit rings, you know. Okay. Now, here is a really, really tough concept, all right? And so if the price of cereal goes from $3 to $2, we say it's an increase in quantity demanded. See, it's a change in quantity demanded, QD. That's from A to B. As it would be if the price went from 2 to 3. There'd be a decrease in quantity demanded. What does quantity demanded mean? It means there's a change only at that specific price point. Okay? So quantity demanded changes from 3 to 2. All right? It increases as prices go lower. Now, what is a change in demand? An increase in demand, a shift in demand. That's when the curve goes from D1 to D2. And there, at every price, if you drew a line through every price, D2, quantity demanded, is greater at D2 than it was at D1. That's a change in demand. That's a shift in demand. That's an increase in demand. Those curves could only shift right or left based on timer. Okay. Again, I will open up the chat here. If you have a question about the difference between quantity demanded and demanded, either turn on your mic or you could put a question in the chat. Trust me. I will go over this during the course of the year. I will tell you there'll be a test question on it, and a huge percentage of the guys will get it wrong. So if you're a little confused, that's normal. Feel free to ask. Okay. All right. Take everyone for their word. All right. This is what we just went. A to B is a change in quantity demanded. Notice a change in price does not shift the curve. You just slide up and down the curve. A to C is a change in demand. That's a shift in the curve. That had to be due to timer. All right. So we're going to do some practice here. So let's see. There's 8 of them. All right. So hamburgers is a normal good. They're giving you this. Every one of these is based on the hamburger industry. So let me do number 1 and tell you how I'd like, let's just model. So population boom. All right. The shifter, market size. Right? More people, bigger market. If market size increases, the demand will increase. So I'd have for the shifter, market size, and then increase in demand. Okay. All right. That being said, I'll give you a couple of minutes to do the next 7. Okay. I'll give you about 5 minutes and then we'll go over it. And I'll open up the chat box if you have any questions. Okay. All right. I'm back. Let's get started. I'm going to ask you to probably chat in the shifter and increase or decrease. But the first one is income. So I think the shifter is obvious. Incomes fall due to recession. Will demand increase or decrease? Why don't we just chat it in? 1, 2, 3, increase or decrease? What do we got? Just type in your answer. Okay. We're flying in with decreases. Okay. Good. All right. Now, give people like 30 seconds and I'll count it off. For number 3, what is the determinant going to be? Just give people like 30 seconds. For number 3, what is the determinant going to be? Taste, income, market size, expectation, or related goods? Okay, 1, 2, 3. What do we got for number 3? No one? I got a related goods. Anyone else? Okay, it is a related goods. It's a substitute. You could either get hamburgers or burritos. So if burritos falls to $1, what impact is that going to have on hamburgers? Will demand increase or decrease? Increase or decrease? I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3. What do we have? Increase or decrease? Okay, we've got demand decreasing. And that's good because people are buying burritos and therefore the demand for hamburgers goes down. All right, number 4. I'll give you like 30 seconds to think about it. And then I'm going to ask you for the shifter. Price increases to $5 for hamburgers. Okay, I'll count to 3. You could type in the shifter. 1, 2, 3. What's the shifter for number 4? We've got no shifter. Not applicable, none. Okay, good. There is no shifter, all right? If price increases to $5, quantity demanded will decrease. Not demand, quantity demanded will decrease. Good job there on knowing that there was no shift. All right, new health craze, no ground beef. Again, I'll give you a little time to type in or think about the shifter. New health craze, no ground beef. What do you have for the shifter? Someone's got taste. Anyone else? Taste, trends, which is taste and preference. Okay, taste and preference. What's going to happen to the demand for hamburgers? Increase or decrease? Demand for hamburgers, increase or decrease? What do we got? 1, 2, 3. Increase or decrease? We've got decreases. All right. Good job. Hamburger restaurants announced that they will significantly increase prices next month. What do we got for the shifter here? Hamburger restaurants announced that they will significantly increase prices next month. Okay, I'm getting expectations. That is correct, all right? Expectations are about things that happen in the future, all right? Now, what will happen to the demand for hamburgers today based on number 6? Increase or decrease? The demand for hamburgers today, they're rolling with increases, which is true. All right, people knowing that price of hamburgers are going to go up. All right. Number 7, government heavily taxes shake and fries, causes their prices to quadruple. All right, the first thing I want you to think about is what is the determinant or the shifter? So is it taste, income, market size, expectation, related goods? What do we have for the shifter? Okay, related goods. It's a complement, right? Usually you have fries with hamburgers or shakes with hamburgers. Okay, now what is going to happen to the demand for hamburgers? Increase or decrease? What do we got? We've got decreasing, right? Because people are going to buy less fries and less shakes, therefore hamburgers. All right. And the last one, restaurants lower price of burgers to 50 cents. Shifter is for number 8, no shifter. Okay, good job. All right. If you didn't understand or you have a question on any of the 8, just type a number in the chat and I'll go over it. So like if you didn't understand 5, just hit number 5 and I'll go over. The shifter for 5 would be taste and preferences, because now ground beef is considered unhealthy. So it'd be taste and preference. Therefore, since people are saying don't eat ground beef because it's unhealthy, the demand for hamburgers would decrease. Evan and Kyle, does that make sense? Or do you need me to try to go through it again? Okay. Any other number? John, quantity demanded is based on price. Yes, John, quantity demanded would slide up and down that the demand curve and is based on a change in price. And you're right, the shifters, which could be phrased change in demand, increase or decrease in demand, that has to be timer. So your statement is correct. Anyone else? Okay. Good job asking questions, clarifying things. All right. We're going to skip that and we're going to go to supply. Now, supply is harder for us because most of us don't run businesses and we don't think of it from the producer's point of view. Like it's easy to think of demand because we're consumers. So supply is, and the definition here is the different quantity of goods that sellers are willing and able to sell. Remember, demand was like what people are willing and able to buy. Here is supply is the different quantities of good that sellers are willing and able to sell at different prices. Okay. Now, if you remember, the law of demand was price up, quantity demanded down, price down, quantity demanded up. The law of supply is there's a direct relationship. So there's a direct relationship between price and quantity supply. As price increases, quantity the producers make increases. Now, why? Because as price goes up, producers are making more money, so they want to supply more. So let me give you an example. I have a shirt. I'm selling it for $10. It costs me $5. I make $5. But now if I raise the shirt to $12, I'm making $7. So I want to supply more. All right. Now, don't worry about what happens to demand here. You're just thinking about the supplier's point of view. All right. So when prices go up, they want to supply more because they make more profit. And as prices fall, quantity makes fall. So the law of supply is there's a direct correlation between price and quantity. The law of demand is there's an inverse relationship between price and quantity. Okay. All right. That is supply. All right. Now, supply is upward sloping, and mainly because there's that direct relationship. As price goes up, you want to supply more. And there is the price of cereal. And, like if you want to draw this in your notes, the only thing I would say to you is just make it upward sloping. You don't have to make sure that, all the numbers are perfect. You could put P on one axis, Q on the other. That could be S. You don't have to write out supply. All right, just P, Q, upward sloping S. All right, now what if new companies start making cereal? That is an interesting question. What do you guys think would happen to the supply of cereal if new companies start making cereal? Increase, decrease, or stay the same? I'll give you like 30 seconds to think, and then I'll give you a 1, 2, 3 count. If new companies start making cereal, do you think the supply of cereal is going to increase, decrease, or stay the same? I got one increase. What else? What do people think? Increase, decrease, stay the same. I've got an increase, I've got a same. No one else seems sure. Okay. All right. There's a couple more people fired into the chat there. We got the same. All right. We got a lot of people thinking the same. All right. Let's talk about it. All right. So the first thing is supply is going to go up. And here's why. And think of it this way. Say like the Ravens play 17 football games. So the supply of NFL football in Baltimore is 17. If another team comes to Baltimore, an NFL team, and they play 17 games, the supply goes to 34. So supply increases. Now, that doesn't mean like both stadiums will be full and like more people are going to watch it. That just means the supply increases. So as you add like more cereals, the supply of cereal would increase, and that would shift like that. So you'd have your arrow, right? Like we did with demand. And then you'd have, if you started at S1, you could go to S2. And there is your supply. So number of sellers, if it increases, supply will increase. Now, each seller might sell less, but the total supply for the market will go up. Okay. Okay. And again, at each point, like at $5, I'm supplying more, at 4, at 3, at 2, at 1. So it's not a change in price. All right. Now, if a drought destroys corn and wheat, we need corn and wheat to make cereal. So if we have less corn and wheat, we're going to make less cereal. So the supply of cereal at each point is going to be less. So my supply curve shifts left. Okay. All right. All right, I'll open the chat here. What if cereal companies find a quicker way to make cereal? Is supply going to increase, decrease, or stay the same? What do you guys think? Just type it in. If cereal companies, all right, we've got a lot. We've got increases started. We've got increase. Okay, good. It is going to increase, right? Because technology is going to help them make cereal faster.
Don't come to class.
And that's going to allow them to increase.
You'll think about it. It's already going on.
Okay. All right. So if they can make it faster, they can make more cereal, they could get it to the market quicker, so supply would increase. All right, I'm now, we're gonna get, Jonathan, we're gonna get to like how they match supply and demand up. But when you're just thinking of suppliers, they want to supply as much as they can to make the most money they can. But you're right, at a certain point, if you put too much into the market, you'll lower your prices, which will cost your profits. But when you're just thinking of the supply issue, like technology and the ability to make it faster will allow you to supply more. Okay. And I don't know where we get to it today, but we'll get to next class where you'll see how supply and demand work together to get like the sweet spot, which is, I think, what you're thinking about. What's the right amount to supply to get the best price and make the most money? And we'll get to that. So that's a good question. Did that make sense to you? All right. I'm going to give you the 7 shifters of supply. This is rat nest. All right. Now, I do not know why students cannot remember rat nest and are usually great at remembering timer. But anyhow, rat nest. Here we go. First one. Oh, maybe not first one. Resource prices. Okay. Anything that you use to make cereal is going to affect the supply of cereal. So if there's a drought and you have less wheat and the price of wheat goes up, that's going to negatively affect the supply of cereal. All right. If the availability of an input, like all of a sudden there's more wheat than anyone knows what to do with, so the price of wheat goes down, that's going to make making cereal cheaper, so therefore more profitable, so the supply of cereal will go up. So the first thing on rat nest, resource prices. Second thing, alternative production. I own a factory, I can make coats or shirts. I'm going to make the one that makes me the most profit. All right. So in situations where I could make one or the other product, I am going to make the one that makes me the most profit. That's what they mean by alternative production. So resource prices, and by the way, wages, that's a resource price because, you know, that's an expense in making something. Alternative production, technology. That was the one we just did with like making cereal faster. Improved technology. We're talking about technology that allows you to make more product, not that eliminates workers, okay? So that would increase supply. 4, number of sellers. That was the example where more cereal companies, that will increase supply. So far for rat nest, we have R, resource prices, alternative production, technology, number of sellers. E, expectations. kind of same thing as we talked about with demand. If prices are going to go up in the future, we're going to supply less today. Why? Because we're going to wait for the prices to go up so we can make more money in the future. Subsidies. All right. I gave you a definition of a subsidy there. It's a government payment that supports a business or market. So if government wants farmers to grow more corn, for an example, they might say, we will give you $1 for every bushel of corn you grow. So now there's an incentive for farmers to grow a lot of corn because their costs are going down because they're getting $1 more. They're getting $1 a bushel from the government, right? And that anytime government, say, wants to incentivize an industry, they would give that industry subsidies, all right? Rarely could I say this, but 99 out of 100 times, subsidies are going to shift supply right. Usually that will happen except for externalities. And the seventh one for rat nest is taxes. All right. And taxes generally make the cost of the good more expensive, and therefore we're going to supply less. So here's your rat nest: resource prices, alternative production, technology, number of sellers, expectations, subsidies, and taxes. And I think like knowing timer and rat nest, like cold stone, is really important. I think last year we were really bad at it. I was making guys do push-ups when they got them wrong. That wasn't fun. All right, so those are your 7 shifters. Again, same thing about price. Price slides up and down the curve. It doesn't shift the curve. All right. All right. So same thing as we did with demand. I'm going to give you, like, again, it's a hamburger industry. All right. So mad cow kills 20% of cows. All right. So for hamburgers, you need beef. That determinant would be resources. All right. If mad cow kills 20%, we have less resources. Therefore, supply is going to decrease. The curve is going to shift left. All right. All right. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I open the chat box in case as you're going through, you have any questions, and I'll give you like 2 or 3 minutes and then we'll go over. Okay. Let's just go over these. I'll count to 3 and I'll ask you for the determinant of number 2. The price of burgers increased 30%. So 1, 2, 3. What is the determinant for number 2? What will shift supply in Rat Nest? Okay. Nico going with none, no shift. All right. You're right, no shift. Price of burgers increased 30%. Quantity supplied will increase, right? Because it's a direct relationship, but supply will not shift. All right. Government taxes, burger producers. I think Rat Nest, we know the taxes is one of the T's. So I'm going to ask, will supply increase, decrease, or stay the same? 1, 2, 3. Increase, decrease, or stay the same? What do we have there? All right, we're getting solid decreases. Solid decreases. Okay. All right. For number 4, I want you to think about what it is in Rat Nest. So I'll ask you for what the determinant is, and I'll count off to 3. So you have 1, 2, 3. What's the determinant for number 4? Okay, Kyle, alternative production. Yes, alternative. All right, that's good. Alternative production is not one they use a lot. So that's good that you recognize. Now, if the price of tacos increased 500%, that was caused by a demand for taco increase, what's going to happen to the supply of hamburgers? Increase or decrease, or stay the same? So I'll give you 1, 2, 3, increase, decrease, or stay the same. Okay, we've got a couple of decreases, a couple of stay the same. All right, so here's what's going to happen. You could produce either burgers or tacos. The price of tacos are going up, which means you're making more money on tacos. Therefore, you're going to supply more tacos, and therefore you're going to supply less hamburgers because you can produce 1 burgers or tacos. So you're going to produce tacos and supply less hamburgers. Okay. Anyone have a question on that? Because there's a couple of different answers. That doesn't make sense, please chat it in and I'll try to go over it again. Okay. New bun making technology cuts production time in half. All right, so we know technology is Rat Nest. It's one of the T's. What's going to happen to supply? Increase or decrease? Increase or decrease for supply here for number 5? Okay, we've got increase. All right, good job. And then the last one, minimum wage increases to $10. Minimum wage increases to $10. What on Rat Nest is minimum wage? What is the determinant or shifter for number 6? Okay, a couple of people got resource. It is resources, right? Number of sellers would be more hamburger places opening, okay? It'd be more like hamburger places. Minimum wage is workers and those workers who are making hamburgers. So that's the resource. Okay. Now, if minimum wage increases, what impact is that going to have on the supply of hamburgers? Increase, decrease, or stay the same? Increase, decrease, or stay the same? What do you guys think? Jonathan's going with decrease. No, we're not sure, but he's going for the same. I like that you're trying. Stay the same. Okay. If the price of workers goes up, profits on hamburgers go down. All right. So let's say I'm making, if they're now paying me more, and remember, everything else is staying the same. So the price of hamburgers is staying the same. The costs go up. I'm making less profit. If I make less profit, I'm going to supply less product. So the supply of hamburgers will decrease. All right, on those 6, if there's something that either you didn't understand or you'd like me to explain again, just type in the number and I'll go over it again, or I'll go over it. Okay, this is probably a great place to stop. We have now done demand and supply. Next Thursday, and remember it's Thursday next week, we are going to put it all together. We're going to put demand and supply together, which, by the way, I think gets you through chapter 4 as far as knowing things. So we'll be ahead of the summer project. So therefore, next Thursday will be a great thing, putting these two together, and that will answer, Jonathan, your question about, supplying too much. The second thing I do want to go over again is if you have the opportunity and you want to take advantage of it, please feel free to send me a rough draft of your summer project. Remember, the rough draft comments are given to you, but no grade is given. So if your rough draft isn't good, that doesn't matter. I just can make comments so you could fix it. And if you don't have time, say, to do the whole thing, do a chapter maybe, so you kind of get what I'm looking for. And your chapter might be, perfect, and then to move on. All right. Otherwise, guys, thank you. Have a great rest of your week. I think it's going to be pretty hot out. And I'll see you next Thursday. I'll stick around for a minute or two in case anyone has a question they want to ask me. All right. Take care. Thank you.